Hmm. Alrighty then. Time to rise and shine this morning because it's another morning above ground. And the ground, of course, is not above you. So let's rise and shine. Good morning. We call this Decisions 2.0 because it was so nice. We're doing it twice. Good morning. It's time for our daily bread. I'm Kevin Elkins, and not that that really matters, but since I gotta have a name, well, that's the one my mama gave me, so I'm sticking with it. So we shall return after this. It is a beautiful day. It's a great day. It's an outstanding day to be alive. Next up, our daily bread, and then we'll get back to hopefully some topics of today. We'll see how that all works out. Okay. So you guys hang loose. Don't go into place. We'll be right back.
God equips us to overcome obstacles and complete the tasks He's given us to do.
Our Daily Bread.
Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by Kirsten Holmberg. We gathered monthly to hold one another accountable to our individual goals. My friend Mary wanted to reupholster the seats of her dining room chairs before the year's end. At our November meeting, she wittily reported her progress from October. It took 10 months and 2 hours to recover my chairs. After months of not being able to obtain the materials required or find the quiet hours away from her demanding job and her toddler's needs, the project took merely 2 hours of committed work to finish. The Lord called Nehemiah to a far greater project, to bring restoration to Jerusalem after its walls had lain in ruin for 150 years. As he led the people in the labor, they experienced mockery, attacks, distraction, and temptation to sin. Yet God equipped them to stand firm, resolute in their efforts, completing a daunting task in just 52 days. Overcoming such challenges requires much more than a personal desire or goal. Nehemiah was driven by an understanding that God appointed him to the task. His sense of purpose invigorated the people to follow his leadership despite incredible opposition. When God charges us with a task, whether to repair a relationship or share what He's done in our lives, He gives us whatever skills and strength are necessary to continue in our effort to do what He's asked, no matter what challenges come our way. Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Nehemiah, chapter 6, verses 1 through 9 and verse 15. When word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies that I had rebuilt the wall and not a gap was left in it, though up to that time I had not set the doors and the gates, Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message: "Come, let us meet together in one of the villages on the plain of Ono." But they were scheming to harm me, so I sent messengers to them with this reply: I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you? 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. Then, the 5th time, Sanballat sent his aide to me with the same message, and in his hand was an unsealed letter in which was written, "It is reported among the nations, and Geshem says it is true, that you and the Jews are plotting to revolt, and therefore you are building the wall. Moreover, according to these reports, you are about to become their king and have even appointed prophets to make this proclamation about you in Jerusalem. There is a king in Judah. Now, this report will get back to the king, so come, let us meet together." I sent him this reply: "Nothing like what you are saying is happening. You are just making it up out of your head." They were all trying to frighten us, thinking their hands will get too weak for the work and it will not be completed. But I prayed, "Now strengthen my hands." And now verse 15. So the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul in 52 days. Let's pray. Lord, please equip us with your strength to persevere and finish the tasks you've given us. May our labors bring you glory. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Okay, we're back. It's time to rise and shine. Our daily, we need that. We need that. Okay. Anyway, so one more day above the ground. Guess what? It's hard to believe. It is the 29th day of July, 2025. It is a day that has never been. And believe me on this, it's a day that won't ever come again. So whatever you do with this day today, make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done. Let's go to the weather and see what it's going to be like today. It's going to be hot. It's going to be real hot. How hot it's going to be? It's going to be so hot, well, I'll let you figure the rest of that out. It's 79 degrees right now in the city of Montgomery. High today of 99 degrees. Okay, then. Anyway, some clouds and possibly isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. High around 99 degrees. Winds light, and a 30% chance of precipitation. Normally that means rain. On tonight, 37% again, 37% precipitation, a chance of rain, partly to cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms during the evening, low 76 degrees, winds light and variable, and rain chance 40%. Now on tomorrow, if they have the temerity to tell us what they know is going to happen tomorrow, well, we'll say. Supposed to be a 35% chance of rain, variable clouds, and thunderstorms, and essentially it's going to be like it is today. Okay, on tomorrow around 95, so should we have a little cooler, but not much. Okay, the pollen precipitation again for the next 6 hours, it's about 33% chance of rain. Pollen is low, air quality is moderate. I don't know whoever tests out the air quality, but I'm all good with it. And UV index is high, because you know why it's high? Because that's what happens when the sun comes out. Okay, that's just what happens. Okay, for this day, highest ever been on this day is 98 degrees, and we're gonna see if we can. Well, the average is 98 degrees. The highest has been those 102. So look like we might get a little break anyway. Okay. So, good morning to you folks out there, and how are you doing? Okay, that's enough of that. That's enough weather rain. We get that's enough of that. We don't need that. Anyway, so good morning, everybody. I guess everybody knows what happened in New York yesterday. I mean, it used to be what happens in other places. We really didn't really worry a whole lot about that, because, I mean, that kind of stuff won't happen in Alabama. That kind of thing won't happen place. But you know what? It seemed that not only have we become a smaller world, we certainly have become a smaller country. Because what happens in one place often affects the whole country now. I mean, people getting killed, this guy, what, shoots a policeman, 4 guys up there? I mean, I don't know what's going wrong with people. I think it's the diet. I think it is the diet. Gunman kills 4 people, including police officers, shooting in New York City, in a New York City office town. Now, that's not really strange. Randall. Well, what's up, Randall?
What's going on, bro?
Man, I'm just trying to make a living, earn my pay.
I heard that. People ought to pay you just to show up.
Yeah, they all do. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, I just called in and say hey, and see what y'all been up to.
I'm good, man. Hey, man, let me ask you a question. You seem like a guy who's into conspiracies, right? Would that be a correct statement?
I mean, I'm into truth, and they call it conspiracy.
Okay, well, truth is good. So I don't know. Sometimes the truth is so far out of the equation till you got to believe in, because you got to think it's a conspiracy because we never see it. So but
yeah, I guess.
But let me ask you a question. Did you know that there's a robot named Sophia? Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, she has been given citizenship. It's a robot now. It's a robot. But this robot in Saudi Arabia has been given citizenship. Why do you believe that there's any reason in the whole wide world why a robot should be given citizenship?
Because they gonna vote. It sounds like that's the only reason.
Now you listen. You may not be wrong. Because
ain't they the same people that had a robot fall down the stairs and get killed? Or that was a different one? Or did you even know about that?
No, I didn't know about that one.
Some country had one and they was using it, and it fell down the stairs and got killed supposedly. I think it just got out of control and they had to kill it. But back to your robot, yeah. I say it because they're gonna end up voting one day, because they have a different. They're trying to make us think that they got a different look than humans do on the world, and that theirs can't be wrong, because we all followed into this grok this and grok that on as far as AI or Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's always using some form of it. I mean, do you use it yourself?
I use it myself, but here's another thing. I don't mind me using it because I got a little knowledge of the world. Whereas if you put that all on kids today, especially ones who are not very bright to begin with, then you turn around and these people will rely on this in a way that they ought not, because they don't have anything to compare the truth with. And that's what bothers me, is because if you don't know the truth, okay, if somebody says how many states in America, for the child who don't really want to study, well, GP chat, whatever they call them now, will say 59. Well, then you tell another child and another child and another child, then at some point you'll forget what the truth is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So chat. I mean, I think if you know the truth, if you know the right answer, and you're only using Chat GPT as a reference, then okay, and if that reference comes back 180% different than what you know it to be, then you know to forget about it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does about this whole AI thing. When I heard yesterday that, and they gave this robot citizenship in Saudi Arabia in 2017. So,
well, it may be so that she can't go nowhere else, and because they're gonna have they put their all into her and made her, you know what I mean, made her some super robot, and they don't want her to bear to go nowhere. Nobody take her. I mean, that could be another to it. I mean, if she was done in 2017, then that means they done put some money into her. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, why in the world would we want to give a machine citizenship? I mean, why? Unless there's something nefarious going on around here, that we don't that we don't know. I'm just thinking something in the milk ain't clean. So
Yeah, they putting a lot of money into her, and they making her think that she's at home, she ain't going nowhere, and that they, you know what I mean? That could be another part of it, because they don't really do much voting in Saudi Arabia. I don't believe. I don't know. They kings and queens over there.
Mm-hmm. And it came out that the robots are actually having more rights than women do over there. And I'm saying to myself, a robot? I mean, a robot's got more rights than a human being does. Oh, women, this world is becoming a crazy place.
And the way they treat women, it may be replacing them. I mean, maybe why they gave them citizenship.
Well, we already got a couple plastic girlfriends right now, so I guess. But anybody who thinks that the robot can take the place of a human being, I mean, intellectually maybe, but what information? Where's the intellect coming from? And the intellectual side of a robot is only as good as what's input in it. And these
exactly.
people, and I heard recently that a couple of these things rebelled, and they had to put it down.
So I'm sure that one they said fell down the stairs and rebelled. That's exactly what happened. It didn't fall down no stairs. It got beat. They had to beat it to death, and they just didn't want nobody to know. But anyway, man, it's good talking to you this morning.
All right, man. I catch you sometimes. I catch you sometimes on the Joey show over there. You always keep their minds rolling.
Yes, sir. I learned that from you.
Right on, brother. Hey, let's see. You can't lie this early in the morning, okay? Anyway, man, appreciate you. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, this whole robot thing just whew. A robot that has citizenship rights. That is amazing to me. So what else is going on in town? I did all this research last night, and now I can't find my research that I did because, it be like that sometimes. Okay, because I don't know what I did with it. I gotta have it here someplace. So what's on you guys' mind? Y'all help me out till I find my. Y'all help me out. You can give us a call if you want to 521-2963. So y'all just call a brother up and let me know what's on your mind until I find the rest of my stuff here. Because I can't believe I did all of this stuff last night, and I can't find my Okay, now that's Jim. Okay, did I take the right one? Okay, I don't think I did, but let me see if I got the right paper here. Well, maybe I think, you know what? I think I broke the wrong one. What is today? Today is the 29th. It is the 29th. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what I did with my paper, with my stuff last night. There I was. So y'all got to help me out today because I spent last night till what time? Dark 30 this morning. Last night, early this morning, trying to get all this stuff together. I'm still trying to figure out what happened to the young man in, I believe it was Homewood, that was shot in the back. And their parents, which I don't blame them, say, we want to see the video. They have yet to see the video. So the governor comes on. I'm always skeptical when the chief executive of a state comes on, and on a local case. That kind of throws me for a loop sometimes. I'm just trying to figure out what's up with that. Okay, I don't know. If the parents, the sheriff up there says, or the police chief, whoever it says, that it is absolutely clear in the video that this young man went to grab a gun. Now we don't know. So if it's absolutely 100% incontrovertible proof that this young man grabbed a gun, then show it to us. Okay, sure. If not to us, show it to his parents. If not to us, show it to his parents, and this story will be validated. It will be, although sad, at least we won't be able. I mean, everybody wants to go home. Everybody wants to go home at the end of the day. Police, me, you, everybody wants to go home. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marine. And we realize that we know a policeman, a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. They realize that there's a chance that they may not. But anything we can do to relay or delay that eventuality, it's always good. And, also, there's another man in Irondale. There's a man whose death was ruled a homicide after neck restraint during police arrest. I don't know what. You see, that's why you need strong men to be policemen, not all these, because whoever came up with the idea of putting your knee on somebody's neck in order to subscribe, it is a natural response of people. Okay, I know they probably won't really, but it is a natural response of people to not want to be restrained. It's just a natural thing. Nobody wants to put their hand behind their back and all that stuff, and so the actual natural response is to resist, and they ought to be prepared for that, and all this. I mean, they ought to be prepared that those things happen. And I just don't understand why we think that putting our knee on people's neck is somehow safe. I don't know, but that's not my call. That's what the police do. And again, I know they got to use some sort of. I know they have to use some sort of method by which to restrain you. But putting your knee on people's neck until they die. I mean, I thought we learned enough of that from George Floyd. Okay, I thought we took care of that. I thought they was going to redo. They was going to redo the process by which they restrain people. But this neck thing, my Lord, I mean, how much the neck? It really. It's soft muscle. So I can almost understand putting your knee in the person's back, okay, to hold them down, as long as you're not on his spinal cord. But I don't know. That is just me, because I don't quite understand this. But this thing over in it's in Irondale. So we got an Irondale thing going on. We have the Homewood thing going on. I mean, listen, I understand police have a job to do. Everybody does. Everybody's got a job to do, and but the way you do that job does matter, at least a little bit. Anyway, I'm thinking. So anyway, if you disagree with me, and there was a thing somebody put on the internet yesterday about what policemen go through, which as soon as I can find it, I'm actually going to read it, because I think it is a interesting thing, the things that they go through on their job. So we don't want to take anything from them. And as soon as I can find that thing, I think I'm going to read that if somebody send it back to me again, because I forgot what I did with it last night. I forgot which file I put it in. And so let us, wow. And again, the gunman in New York, of course, kills 4 people, including a police officer, in a shooting at New York City office tower. And that is a shame. Of course it is. A man stalked through a Manhattan office tower, firing in a rifle, and he was walking with this. Is it okay? This is going to be a crazy question. Is it really time that we amend the Second Amendment? Is it really? I mean, obviously, we as a country don't seem mature enough to allow people to walk around with guns. I know there's good, at least I know that except for policemen, but I know there's a danger in that, and that danger would be that it allows crooks to still have a gun. Okay, I got that part. Um, but I do believe that if I see you walking down the street with a rifle, can somebody tell me, unless you're in the woods, unless you are in the woods, okay, in the woods, why would you need to walk down to, or unless you in Saudi Arabia, well, not Saudi Arabia, but Afghanistan, Tehran, Vietnam, Grenada, unless you there in those places, why would you need to walk down the street with a rifle? Give me one good answer, okay? And yeah, the gunman was a Democrat. Let's most of the time, most people who do these crazy things have an affiliation. They call them now, whether or not they're actual Democrats, I don't know, but they align themselves with the quote unquote the Democratic policies. They do that. I mean, that is what it is. I think you can we can prove that. Like the other day in New York again, they got this stand called F F O FAFO. Okay, and it is FAFO, FAFO. Okay, and it means I won't use the words mess around and find out. So some people in New York the other day decided that they didn't like what these other people were standing for. So they surrounded the guy's vehicle, Big Dooley. They surrounded the guy's vehicle and tried to stop them from moving, trying to get into the truck, beating on the guy's windows, putting his life in danger, and he ran over a couple of them. And they kept saying, "What the F? What the F?" I don't use that kind of word. And what did they expect? I mean, honestly, what did they expect? They and New that's true. That's true. But this guy was walking in New York. Right, they got some of the strictest gun laws in the country and had more folks killed up there than almost. I'm with you. So we know there are people gonna do bad things with guns. We know that. So what do you suggest we do? How do we curb some of the carnage that's going on in this country, in this quote unquote so-called free country? How do we do that? But anyway, getting back, I'll get back and come up with an answer to that in a minute. I'll get back. So all these about 25, 35 people beat on the guy's truck. Okay, beat on the guy's truck, trying to break his windows, and he runs over their ass. You know what? Outstanding. Okay, because who do these people think they are? They think they got like when COVID came out. There was a FedEx truck coming down Kings Highway. If you've never been to St. Louis, you know what I'm talking about. But coming down Kings Highway, and all of a sudden, they stop traffic on the freeway. They get to the FedEx truck. They yank the guy. They stop the guy, start robbing his truck. And you know what he says? Oh, hell with this. He took off. And when he took off, there was somebody back there in the back trying to steal stuff, and he got ran over by the wheels. Hey, sorry about that, but F around and find out. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And we, I mean, that's what's going to have to be done. Because obviously, these people have no sense of logic or reason when they do things like this. They have no sense of it. Like, I mean, do they? And we got a protest coming up in Montgomery here sometime this weekend, I believe. While you do have a right to protest because our country, our Constitution gives you that right, I'm all for it. But you don't have a right to be a fool. Okay, I mean, you may be a fool, and you may not know you're a fool, but you don't have a right to be a fool. I mean, you do have a right to be a fool, I guess, and we have a right to protect ourselves from fools. Okay, but yesterday I think it was not day before yesterday in New York. So we just got. I mean, we as a nation. Here's the question: do we have too much freedom sometimes in America? Do we have too much freedom? Well, I don't think you can ever have too much freedom, but something's wrong with us. We used to value our freedoms, and we wanted to protect them, which is why if you go to Arlington Cemetery, you see rows and rows and rows of people who gave their life for this country, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But they certainly didn't give their lives so people could walk around the street in modern America with a gun and kill people. They didn't. That's not why they did that. And okay, the Constitution gives you a right to be a fool. I'm with you on that. But F around and find out what that's going to do for you. Okay. So I don't have a. Okay, you can be and people say, well, we got a right to protest. So yeah, but I have a right too. I have a right to protest the protester. So we just be protesting together. But I got the part about you can be a fool. But in like anything else, there's going to be a consequence for being a fool. Because being a fool ain't free. Okay, it costs something. Okay, being a fool costs. You just can't be one without payment. Okay, you got to pay somebody for being a fool. And sometimes, if you're a real fool, sometimes you're gonna pay with your life. And that's fine with me as long as the fool don't take anybody's life. I'm good. But anyways, I'm with you. What's the funniest was CNN calling him a white guy. They wanted that so bad. Well, he was a white guy, wasn't he? It was. I was just glad it wasn't a black man. I was just hoping upon all hope that a black guy didn't do this. But here's the funny. Here's the terrible thing about this. The officer killed. Name was I think was Didarul Islam, 36 years old, an immigrant from Bangladesh, and who had served the police department in New York City for 3.5 years. He was doing his job, and he asked what we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. Most police officers do that. They put themselves in harm's way, and we appreciate it. But that being a policeman is one of the few jobs, and a soldier, which is why it takes special people to do it. You're the only group of people that have the right, under the right circumstances, to take the two most precious things that a citizen in this country can have. The two most precious things, and that is their freedom and their life. Under the right circumstances, you have the response. But that responsibility comes with that privilege, or whatever you want to call it, comes with a hell of a high bar. And so it's a tough job. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, if we can go other countries to make sure that they're safe, well, somebody's got to do it over here. That's why I don't really understand why it's such a difficult thing here to get policemen. I mean, I guess I kind of understand why it's a difficult thing to get policemen, but my understanding is that most of the people don't complain about the job. Most of the people complain about leadership in our police departments across the nation. So it is not the job that gets on people's nerves sometimes. It is what the things they have to go through, on the job, which is what my understanding is. They just catch hell from the people who they're supposed to work for, because people do get this Napoleonic complex sometimes. They do. They get this and I'm still trying to wonder what Gray Boys is now. What is Chief Gray? Because according to him, we got a second in charge now. Look like she's running the police department. What's her name? Edis Bettis, whatever her name. I can't remember what her name is, but anyway, it Etis Brickus. That sounds like one of them Greek names. Etis Brickus, as a new chief of staff. I think they said she's like 5'2", 5'1". I mean, she really can't handle a guy. But hey, but if you got it, but I will admit now, if you got the right people, you train them well, she don't have to get out in the street. But she's making they already put in. Listen, they've already put in for a raise for her already. Okay, and Gray Bowles too. They put in a raise for him. Now I'm thinking, get our city down to a true 28% or 30% change in statistical analyses of the crime in this city. Hell yeah, they deserve a raise. But right now, looking at what's going on in Montgomery, Alabama, I don't think. As a matter of fact, I think y'all probably need a deduction in pay. Okay, except for the officers who run the street. Okay, so I'm just saying, yeah. And I'm trying to figure what Gray Boys is doing myself. I don't. What he's sending out resumes? I guess. I mean, this woman right here. I mean, this is what I say. What's it? She will oversee. Now check this out. She will oversee daily operations, policy development, budget administration, and strategic management for MPD. Does that not sound like a job that a police department chief would do? I mean, so I'm trying to figure out what's he doing. What's his job? I mean, and again, she was on the police force in Baltimore in 2015 when the young man named Freddie Gray, who died of injuries sustained while in police custody. Okay, and the incident is what sparked the protest and rioting and everything like that in Baltimore. So I'm just, and that's the mayor at that particular time. What was her name? Her name was Stephanie Rawlings Blake. During the press conference, they said that she wanted to give protesters the space to destroy. Okay, she wanted to give protesters the space to destroy. Now, she later came out and said the right to destroy. Well, when you get caught saying something stupid or giving stupid instructions, then they're going to call you on it. Okay, so my thing about Etis Pettis, whatever her name is, does she believe in that philosophy? Does she believe that people, if they get mad, they got a right to protest, but they don't have a right to destroy? Okay, people's businesses and their lives and things. So I mean, I don't even know what she sounds like. I haven't heard her. I mean, and some people, I got to tell you something. Some people on the city council say they didn't know she was even coming to do it. They didn't know anything about it. So I don't know. I thought, well, I know the mayor knew, but the mayor and the city council's relationship seems somewhat stressed. For lack of a better word, they seem to be stressed, or rather than a one of those relationships. I like the West Gray Boy just sending out resume. That's pretty much what he's doing. Because again, now listen to this one more time. She will oversee that's the new woman that's here. Etis Brickus. What a name. I guess I don't her name is her name is I may be wait a minute, I may be pronouncing this wrong. Okay, so I don't want to now if I got this all wrong, I want y'all to so this is her name. Okay, and I'm just trying to figure out Etis Brickus. Is that how you pronounce that? Etis Brickus. That's her name. I don't really know how to pronounce that. It sounds like one of those names that they give you back in Rome or in Greece. You know, the beginning of civilization. That's what they say. It sounds like the girl. Anyway, but that's her name. So if I got it wrong, sorry about that, Mayor. I'm pretty sure the mayor is going to give it a name. Now the mayor's supposed to be here next month, sometime. I think the first weekend in August. So we'll have a conversation with him about the Etis Brickus or whatever her name is. Anyway, that's her name. Okay, so however you pronounce that name, I guess it's whatever her name is. But anyway, so I need to know. Does she think that if citizens get mad enough, they have the right to destroy because of their political views? I hope not. Okay, I hope not. Again, she will oversee daily operations, policy development, budget administration, and strategic management for MPD. Again, if she's doing all of that, then what is Gray Boys doing? I mean, I think that's a reasonable question to ask. I mean, what? I mean, so he must be filling out resumes. That's all I can tell you. And you know, Maryland, where she came from, Baltimore, is the 7th deadliest city in America almost. So evidently, whatever. I mean, was she not helping the police chief down there? I mean, you come here and get all these stars on you and all this money without really a record of accomplishment. One that deserves that kind of money coming from where you came from. Okay, so I'm just saying. And you know, before I get to anything else, you know that this country has never really, as a nation, paid homage to all of those young people that died in Texas in that flood. You realize outside of what happened in Pearl Harbor, as far as water and water things, water tragedies, this has got to be this has got to be the toughest, most tragic water incident in since I've been alive, which has been a few years. But why is it that we really haven't paid homage to and there were kids down there, and some from Montgomery, some from Alabama. I know one child was from was she from Homewood or Hoover, someplace up there, Mountain Brook. I think she was Mountain Brook. Why haven't we done that? I mean, we almost lost 200 people. You know, that's an amazing statistic. I mean, and the thing about it is that it was in Texas, pretty much flatland from the last I remember being there. I remember been to Dallas a few times, and Fort Bliss, Texas, where I was once. But why haven't we, as a nation? I mean, we what we needed to do, I believe, is fly all of our flags at half staff for that group of people. Yeah, they're not military people, but I understand that. But as a nation, it is our way. It is our way of showing, I don't know, respect to all those young people. I mean, but you don't really hear much about it. You haven't really. I mean, we lost almost 200 people down there in Texas because of water. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's a once. I mean, they say, well, it's a once in a lifetime deal, and that may or may not be so. I don't know. It's a once in a lifetime deal, but we still owe those people some consideration. Okay. Gary, I don't know. I don't know if we do that for the people in Texas, or was that something here in Alabama? And if we did, then I'm proud of us for doing that. But I don't know if we did it for them. I remember the governor putting them at half flag, but I think that was somebody who died. As a matter of fact, one of the person who died was the former Matt Gibson. As a matter of fact, the former legislator from Prattville. I think that's when the flags went at half staff. I don't think they went at half staff for those poor souls in Texas. So Matt Gibson passed, who's a longtime legislator downtown, and I think, but I don't think I don't think it had anything to do with those people dying. I just think I don't know. I just think we really shook this off real quickly. Okay, really shook this off. And it seems that Wetumpka, Alabama, is going to have a entertainment district now from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Um, and venues provide, and oh yeah, and they're going to have 16-ounce to-go cups. So let me get this right. So Wetumpka is going to have an entertainment district, going to give you to-go cups, and then the police are going to wait outside a little bit down the road to give you a ticket for taking that to-go cup. Forgive, they're going to give you a ticket for taking the to-go cup in your car. So now you're gonna have open alcohol in your car, and now you're gonna pay. Not only are you gonna pay for the entertainment system, you're gonna pay at least some more money in the city of Wetumpka also. So won't be any need for them to go up on taxes because everybody likes to drink. Unlike Montgomery, Wetumpka does not restrict the type of alcohol sold in to-go cups. Well, okay then. Listen. I guess they're doing it right. I guess but it does seem that Montgomery has strange rules sometimes. But does it really make a difference what kind of alcohol you sell in the to-go cup in an entertainment district? Whether it's beer, Hennessy, does it really make a difference of which one you have? That's another dumb rule. Okay. Now Montgomery, and I think our city council is preparing to re-examine how its entertainment districts operate. City leaders have a nearby example to the north of us, and that is, of course, Wetumpka. And if you're going to have it together, now the only thing, my only problem with the entertainment district, because I don't drink, I don't need alcohol, I don't do none of that stuff. But we did a couple weeks ago. They wanted to make a, what do they call this thing? When you can't be out a certain time of night, whatever they call it. Okay, you looked it up. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad we did. But I know that was around the same time that Mr. Gibson died, Matt Gibson died, and I knew we flew the flags at half staff for that. But if the governor did that, then we salute her for acknowledging the tragedy that's not too far from us in Texas. Okay, but I don't know. But we as a nation haven't done it. And I know the president went down there. I know he did. But I think as a nation, there should have been a day of mourning, like we would do any president that lays in state. Okay, then. So anyway, so when the districts came up, when the entertainment district downtown a couple weeks ago, our city council was going to make a curfew. Going to make a curfew for people under the age of 17, which I don't know what makes them think that 17 is a good time to be out at night at 12 o'clock. Unless you're coming from work, I can't think of, and I don't even think you can work after 12 o'clock at 17, can you? But anyway, they did that, but they didn't think about the same thing. They didn't do the same thing for small businesses. I mean, other small businesses. I mean, do you have to be downtown to get some protection from hooligans? I mean, is that was not a very good that curfew was not thought out. If we're going to have a curfew, we need a curfew for all of Montgomery, not just downtown, so we can protect people, and we do want to protect their investment. We do, right? No doubt about it. I don't. That's a lot of money to invest downtown. I feel you on that one, but everybody business needs to be protected, not just people downtown in the entertainment district. I think isn't there another entertainment district over there in Cloverland or Cloverview or whatever it's called over there. They got, and the fun thing about it, I never really heard any bad things happening over there. Is there a solid non grata thing? I mean, that's where some of our well-to-do people stay. Not. I mean, they all don't stay out in Wind Lakes and Sturbridge. They stay out there too. Matter of fact, the Garden District, the Garden District is a place where they can tell you what color to paint your house, what wait a minute, what you can paint it with, uh, how to keep your grass cut. I mean, I won't never want to live in a place like that where you can tell me what color I can paint my house. You must be crazy. Unless you paying the note on it, I'll paint it whatever color I want to pay it. Okay, we ain't gonna play that. Okay, let me see this. Governor Kay Ivey has ordered flags across Alabama to be flown half-staff in a gesture of okay, all right, outstanding. She ain't bad at all. She did something good. A mourning and solidarity with the uh, families and communities impacted by the devastating flood. Okay, good. Because I know outstanding. Hey, I didn't say I was right all the time, just most of the time. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, and that's what I want. As long as we did it, but we as a nation have not done it. But I'm okay. Well, okay, good. I know you're making that prison out there for the brothers, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you at least doing this. Okay, I do appreciate you doing that. So, because Alabama, we can't walk around with the Bible in our hands all the time. Got more churches in Montgomery, Alabama, than most states got. We got over 600 churches in this city, and I don't even think that includes the county. To tell you the truth, but I know we got 600. Or a little bit more than that now. I'm just trying to figure with all the money we putting on real estate, we could build people's a house. we can build people houses who don't have a place to stay. With all the money that we put in churches, we could build a place where people with the homeless could stay at least temporarily. Okay, with all the churches we build. But we keep giving, although I guess they won't loan you money. I guess banks won't loan you money unless but there's this thing. It's called the Community Reinvestment Act, and it came out. One of the few things Jimmy Carter did that I know of that was a good thing, although it is not being used. It is called the Community Reinvestment Act. Okay, the CRA. Okay, and what happens is that banks that actually banks who actually do business in your communities are asked or are mandated to actually give money to in those communities. Since they're taking the money from those communities, they're asked look it up. It's called the Community Reinvestment Act. Y'all look it up and let me see. Okay, let me see. Community Reinvestment Act. And that came about in 1977, I believe. And we're supposed to, I guess it's called, I think the CRA. Yeah, we're supposed to I got to call my finance guy because let me call Thomas and see, because Thomas know about this kind of stuff. I don't really know about this kind of stuff, but I do know. I didn't realize that a bank has a responsibility, according to Jimmy Carter, which I agree with, to do things in the neighborhoods by which they get the money from. Okay, so I'm just thinking, maybe we're doing something wrong. Okay, I think it's called the Community Reinvestment Act. All right. Let me see. Let me see what this is. Let me see if I can find my good friend here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can find a guy answer this question for me. Because I do believe, I do believe we can. I just want to make sure I get this right, because this is important. All these banks in the hood, and I don't know the number, so he may not answer the phone. Okay. Hey, Hey man, I got you on the podcast, so don't cuss me out in that right quick. But I had to ask you a question. The Community Reinvestment Act of 1977, doesn't that mandate that most banks invest money in the communities in which they operate?
Absolutely. Up to 85% of their profits in the community in which they operate. That's why most have moved out of those communities. They can meet it in quantity or just say, for example, I used to use, for example, Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Seawright. They can meet it in dollar amount, or they can meet it in the number of loans that they give out. But it's more risky that way. If you had 100 loans out at 100,000, you just loaned out $10 million. Whereas you can loan those two individuals $10 million, and it's easy to get it back because they have a track record of performance, and they're going to need those lines of credit. So they can meet it in any number of ways. And typically that's what they try to do, minimize the number and utilize the businesses or the individual companies or corporations that have, a track record for doing so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I guess the purpose of that is to not to leave these neighborhoods, not to extract everything from these neighborhoods and leave them high and dry and don't put anything back.
Certainly, because those depositors are from the neighborhood, so it's to reinvest back into the neighborhood to better the neighborhood. But when those banks leave out, then those banks are not obligated to that community any longer. That's why you have bank deserts, and that was the purpose behind us creating Gateway Credit Union in 2012 to do it throughout the Black Belt, because there was no real financial institutions and there was a lot of predatory lending. So we were created to get rid of that.
So if that is still on the books and it hasn't been taken, why is it that we don't see a lot of activity in your mind with banks doing that? I mean, it's hard.
Well, most banks are not brick and mortar anymore. Many banks are online. So the requirements are not necessarily gone, but the brick and mortar is not there. So they're not under the same exact obligation. And again, most banks have moved away from those communities. So in those areas, the requirement has been negated. But I don't blame the bank. I blame the citizen. There's financial literacy or illiteracy, and there should be financial mastery by now, because that's not something new, as you just stated. It's been echoed since 1977. So whose fault is it? Is it the bank, or is it the community? Is it colleges and other educational system? Is it the local school fault? It's a combination.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say that the concept wasn't placed out there. You can't say it hasn't been taught. You can't say it hasn't been echoed a million times. It's just that people don't listen. It's the same way we would keep electing the same type politicians, whether it's the Republican Party, Democratic Party, or so-called independents, or what have you. We keep getting the same thing because we keep following the same system, same format, the same paradigm. You can't blame the handful of politicians. When I say a handful of politicians, 538 nationally, 40 here in Alabama, and we keep electing or re-electing people, and we keep getting the same results. We keep using the term economic development as opposed to economic advancement. Economic development simply means that the taxpayer is going to foot the bill of those who are going to benefit.
Yeah.
We're the benefactor.
Yeah.
And they're the beneficiary over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I don't blame the politicians anymore. I blame the people.
Yeah, that word economic development is like Sasquatch up in Washington. We heard about them. We just ain't really seen them.
Yeah, well, it's econocide. And what I mean by that is just like genocide. Each and every time there's a shift in the demographics, racially, economically, what have you, those on the bottom remain on the bottom. And then you have de-gentrification and then gentrification. Whose fault is it? If we know that cycle is pervasive every 20 to 30 years, well, the city of Montgomery, using that for an example, has been around a long time. So if the cycle is the same, who's to blame?
Have people just giving up? I mean, are we so used to things being the way they are until because money is still rolling. Money is still doing its thing.
It's an economic cycle. Absolutely. It never stops, just like time. There's always going to be a medium of exchange, whether it's the U.S. dollar, whether it's gold, silver, crypto, whatever the medium of exchange is going to be, is going to be. It's just that people, like you said, giving up. Many, most, others just don't care as long as they can put something in their pocket here and there.
And to be fair, you have been money is a it sounds simple, but it is a complicated process to process the knowledge about it, because for years you were telling me this stuff. Now I didn't have any money, so I didn't really worry about it. I didn't pay much attention to it. But as you live longer and you see the cycle, the cyclicness of the cycle of the same thing, we keep hearing people for years. Community, we want to get some develop, whatever, economic development. Again, those are the two words that to me are like a ghost. We heard about you, but we don't really see you. Now we see it going on. It just ain't going on over here. It's a complicated thing. Would you agree with that? I mean, we if you don't have any money, you act like it does affect you though. So you still need the knowledge.
Yeah, you know the old saying, if it don't make money or dollars, it don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes you have some sense in order to make dollars.
Yeah. Well, I think I heard.
So if we're not utilizing, say again.
No, I think I heard Dave Ramsey said the most important thing you have to make money for you is your job, and if you don't really use your money from that job in a wise way, then you're still going to be where you are.
Well, the money is used to make wealth, and in most people's mind, money is their wealth, and it's not, because money loses value because of inflation and other entities or other things. So you have to utilize what other aspects that money can buy. Say, for instance, like real estate. Well, it appreciates and depreciates depending, but it's a lot more solid than just having you $10,000 under the mattress in your pocket, because you're going to soon spend it and ain't going to be nothing there. So it's an investment in how you invest.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how.
But we got to do some things collectively also, as a people, as a group, as a community. You can't depend on the government for everything. That has become the problem. We made the government the monster that it is. So now we're complaining about the monster that we created. Well, we keep asking for handouts. We keep asking for community involvement as far as nonprofit organizations. Well, hell, we have more nonprofit organizations than we have business. We have more a non-government organization than we do government officials. Well, they're getting paid to do what the government and the community is supposed to be doing themselves. So who's the idiot? Who's the monster? Is it the organizations that we ask for and keep asking for over and over and over again? I think you like to say that those that do the same thing, asking for or thinking that something different is going to come about, is crazy.
Wow. Well, I know you've been talking about it for years. And I must admit, I've been one of those dumb heads who didn't really realize, because I personally didn't have any money to talk about until recently. I realized, yeah, but the little bit I had, the little bit we have, we can do something with it. And
absolutely. And use this example. And you said you got me on live. I'm gonna get you for that. I didn't know your number either. But anyway, most people have, working people, let me say that, money in retirement, 401ks and the like. That's at the whim of someone else's expertise. Many times you watch, if the president voters say A, B, C, or D, the market moves A, B, C, or D. And people sit there and their money moves and shifts, and if they watch it every day or hour by the hour, you have a heart attack or a stroke immediately because it fluctuates the same. Well, you're penalized if you withdraw early. You can make a loan on your money or withdraw depending on the type of retirement account that you have and the corporation or the company terms, rules, and regulations, but it's limited. Well, if we got 70,000 people working in the city of Montgomery, and I'm going to utilize Black people working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to say that's 70,000. If they take out $100, that's $7 million. That's 70,000. Take out $1,000, and we spend it like that on a monthly basis anyway. We got $100 million. Well, we utilized it just as we do with retirement accounts, just as we do with insurance. It's a pooling of money, and you get trinkets of pennies on the dollar as a result of interest and or dividends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we do something for ourselves? If we got $100 million that we just put aside to do something for ourselves without government assisting or aiding, and if government becomes our matcher, that's $200 million, right? Because they're matching everybody else. They're matching the Whitewater Park, aren't they? They're matching every other entity that they bring to the city. Why can't they do that for the citizens themselves? We're going to pay the bill anyway. So now instead of $100 million, we got $200 million. Well, what type of corporation or business or how many jobs can we create with $200 million? Thinking outside of the box.
Pretty good one.
Or in the box. Just think.
Well, again, I know I was ignorant for years and still got a little bit of it too, as a matter of fact, because I just, I became comfortable with just getting by. And I think most of us become comfortable with just getting by. Me, I say years are turn into months, and months turn into days, and days turn into hours. We seem to go backwards rather than forward sometimes when it comes to money.
That's a personal thing. Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah.
But it's also financial literacy that's not taught, I can say, I guess, on a deep enough level, starting from elementary through high school. And then when you get to college, you have a lot of illiterate people in college about money. They know what money is. They know what money does as far as purchasing power, as far as buying what they want or desire. But they have no clue as to how to make money. They have no clue as to the importance of it other than spending it on an item for themselves, not realizing that everything that they buy, somebody made.
Wow. And getting back to the community reinvestment, I hear you. If there's no bank in the community and if there's no brick and mortar, but I think the spirit of the law
should the same.
It still be the same.
It's the same. However, if there's nothing in the community as to a brick and mortar bank, these individuals are having to do it online, and those banks are headquartered, just say in Wyoming, or headquartered in New York somewhere. You can't force them to do anything in Lowndes County. You can't force them to do anything in Wilcox or Perry County. You can't force them to do anything in Dallas County. They're making personal loans to individuals, but personal loans is creating debt and mountains debt, making you more insulated than you were before. Most people think that they can borrow themselves out of debt. Wrong. You're digging a new hole. Well, if you got old debt of $20,000, but you can go and borrow another 20 or 25 because you're getting a little behind on the previous debt. So you go borrow again to pay off the old debt. You just created more debt. You just got yourself a modicum of relief from the prior debt because you might skip a payment or two, depending on when you close the loan out during the month.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, bro. It's an interesting. I don't know how I got onto this, but it's just difficult to. We were talking about the We're coming up with their district, whatever they call this thing they got, like Montgomery entertainment district, and we noticed that Montgomery. Our city council decided that that district downtown was really it's so important that that's the only place in town where they want to protect businesses.
Well, not only that, it's to see the power. They got government buildings and government development going on down there, don't they?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I disagree completely that it's only downtown. But that lets you further know what you've been saying for the last 25 years. The police is not there to serve and protect the public, it's serve and protect the property of those that are important to them. The police is a reactionary entity to the crimes that we commit in the community.
Right.
They come after it happens.
Yeah.
But they're there to prevent it from happening to property that it's relegated or delegated to go and do, like with that curfew. Like, I don't think that's going to do any good.
Right, it's not good.
Because the individuals that are doing the killing and what have you there in the city on that side of town, they're of age. But with the young people downtown under that specific age at that late of an hour, they cause a lot of ruckus and a lot of property damage. So I'm assuming that's why the police have been dispersed for that district.
And well, you know, they're not serious when they keep saying, "Oh, 17 and above can be downtown, but 16 and below can be." Like 17, all of a sudden you hit 17 and you're mature and wise now. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can agree with what you're saying, except for this fact. A couple months ago, my truck was broken into. Called the police at 2 a.m. They didn't show up till 8:30 in the morning because we called them repeatedly. And when they got there, they couldn't do anything because they didn't know anything, even though they saw the cameras. Well, myself and the other 3 guys' vehicles that were broken into, we went and found them ourselves. Called the police. The police comes back out. So the mother and one of the perpetrators comes out, and the mother said, well, at first the child was asleep, so they didn't leave the house. Well, they got trapped in that lie because I'm showing the video. He's underage, or they're underage. Did not ask for any ID, just took the word of the mother. Then told myself and the other 2 guys that we had to get off of their property or leave because we were of age and they could arrest us for trespassing and or harassment as opposed to them for the vandalism because they were underage. And I asked, what the hell do you mean? The comment by the police, not 1, but 2, stated there was no room at, DYS or the youth aid, and that they could not arrest them because they were underage. And hopefully, if we send it to this email address, the video, that someone will call us one day and we could go to the hearing.
One day.
And they said this in front of the perpetrators. Well, after the perpetrators witnessed that, the other 2 came out of the house. Well, they know they weren't going anywhere. So when you hear what you just said, they have to be of age 17 or older. So if they're 17 or older, they can go to jail. So 2 sides to the story.
Yeah, so you call the police because they break into y'all's vehicles. You end up being threatened with going to jail if the perpetrators of these crimes, parents, tell you to leave, then you got to leave. Something's wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Something's
wrong with that.
The next time, the parent would have to come collect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't know how old these people are at 2 o'clock in the morning, breaking into your house or your vehicle or your property.
And the police didn't get there until 4 or 6 hours later?
Absolutely. It's a matter of record.
My Lord, is that much stuff going on in the city of Montgomery 2 o'clock in the morning?
I don't know. The only thing I know is protect yourself and protect your house.
Yeah.
Protect your things, yourself. The next time, I told the police, I'm not calling the police. And if nobody comes, I'll just step over what's there until it rots away or someone comes and claims it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, wow. Well, Thomas, I know you didn't know I was going to call you this morning, but I thought that, that was an interesting thing. And I'm glad you're squaring me away on the Community Reinvestment Act because right now there ain't no banks hardly in the communities anymore.
Absolutely.
So
they're now traveling further than they were 10, 12 years ago to a local bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people are not utilizing banks at all in the sense of they're using, the debit cards from different institutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As their banking source.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they got this
so
one.
Those sources
Yeah, they got this one called Chime. Hell, you don't even have.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
You don't know where your money is.
Absolutely. So, what requirement would they have to invest or reinvest in your community? None.
None. Yeah, that's true.
So technology is not necessarily good.
Yeah.
In that case, it's useful, but it's not most beneficial. Let me state it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a good segment of that population utilize such. So they're not realizing that they're doing more harm to themselves than good. It's just like the convenience of using the card. Everybody uses the electronic transactions. Oh, you got to swipe the card when you go to get gas, to get cigarettes or whatever they get, candy. They're swiping cards, which typically take longer than it does to make a transaction with cash. They said it was convenient. It's convenient to who?
Well, hell, and I got to tell you something. There are some places, such as renting a car,
won't take cash.
They won't take it. And somebody told me it's against the law not to take cash because on that cash it says these.
It's a legal tender.
Legal tender.
Absolutely, but let's say that business can say, well, it's for a matter of security. I've been robbed 1,000 times, so if I have no cash, it reduces the risk of me being robbed, or if they do rob me, they can't get anything. I don't agree with no business that does not take cash because I like to utilize cash. Yeah. But that business has that option.
I don't even know if
that just simply means that their cash spenders don't utilize that facility.
Yeah, but I don't know if they got a legal right to turn you down with cash. I know it's being done, but I don't know if anybody's challenged it, but it seemed like to me, you get paid with cash. And therefore, some people get paid with cash. It seemed like to me that it said these notes are legal tender for all debts, public and private.
At the end of the day, cash is still king. Why? If you're buying crypto, you have to buy crypto with what?
Cash.
If you sell your crypto, you get what?
Cash.
But crypto is a what? Digital currency, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't trust it.
No, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah. What do you think about it? What do you think about crypto?
Well, it's just another medium of exchange. And those that have knowledge of it and invested in it from the beginning, they're doing very, very well. Those of us that are just not catching on or haven't caught on at all, we're still doing the same. So it's not harming us either way. It's just another investment vehicle.
Yeah.
Think about this. Our politicians come before us and have come before us about every social entity. When I say social, I'm talking about the Epstein files. I'm talking about just talk. But nobody came before us, and particularly the black politicians on a national level, didn't come to us about the Genius Act, did they? What the hell is the Genius Act?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
It's dealing with the stable coin. The what? The stable coin. Well, why the same black politician didn't come before the black community to give us heads up on this so that we can start from the ground up with it, grow with it, invest within it? Many of them themselves don't know. Secondly, the smaller the population means is that know and understand, they get the greater gain or benefit.
Yeah. I must admit, when
don't come before me publicly hooping and hollering about who someone else slept with or how they sleeping, but don't come tell me how you are creeping when it comes to financial investment and what have you, because their money's $174,000 starting out salary on the congressional side and senatorial side, $225,000. It's supposedly or allegedly in a what? Blind trust. That blind trust automatically, or sometimes, I don't know how, turns $174,000 or $225,000 into 5, 10, 15, 20, $100 million.
You know,
them some hell of investors.
Yeah, they're cheating us. And if we did what they did with them, with those stocks, some of us be in jail because violation of SEC
inside.
Yeah.
Not only you'd be under the jail.
Yeah. And I don't know why we let them get away with it, but we do.
We do. We keep talking about we own the government, and we're not acting like we're the owners of the government. We are the slaves of the government and have always been the slaves of the government. But when the people awaken, then they have like an earthquake or a volcanic eruption from time to time, called revolutions or called, an awakening. But then we go right back to sleep, or we calcify like lava or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, we got to talk. When I come up with something I can understand. Well, not understand it. A good thing. We can do this again, and you can tell us a little bit about money, because most of us don't know nothing about it except how to give it to somebody else when we get it.
What you should do is have your audience mandate that the local, the county, city, state directors over finance, it'd be mandatory that they come out monthly or at least quarterly and discuss finance of those entities to the public, of which that's their job. Because many times the administrators, like the mayors or the county commissioners or the state representatives, can't explain it that way. The governor can't explain it that way, even though she was a former treasurer, can't explain the economics. They give us talking points with no definitive details, and the public never gets the game. The public gets the pain called the taxation or the tickets to pay the bonds and what have you.
Hey, one more thing. What do you know about this Ferris wheel thing that the city is getting involved in? You know anything about that?
Only what I've read or seen on the news.
Okay.
And I think it's a pretty good idea. I mean, a lot of cities have that as an attraction when you're getting off of the interstate. You know, you see these big Ferris wheels in, Atlanta and different places. So, yeah, I mean, I would not necessarily be opposed to it. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other yet, but from the small article WSFA had a couple of days ago, it appeared to be interesting or what have you. So we've already wasted a few $100 million in the last year or two anyway that we'll never recoup, and it's continuously bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And there's one other thing I want to add to that. When that project was done and when that project was semi-completed, they had in hand a study that said that that project would not be successful unless it was 64% predominantly white population with significant income. Well, when that project was created, neither of those facts existed. Today, none of those facts existed, and we're still pumping more and more and more and more and more and more and more money into it under the false idea that if we don't waste $100 million. You're going to waste it either way, identically the same, except for the fact this way you're continuously pumping water in a hole that does not have a bottom.
But again, I'm actually,
no, sir. 64%.
I hear what you're saying.
The study said that, but you cannot argue that.
No, I can't argue that. But I can argue if all we do is bring people to Montgomery to reminisce on the past wrongs.
You're just like those politicians that come before us with those same issues, the talking points that electrify the emotions of the people, but it has no substance. Leave it alone. Let that go, Kevin. The park has not generated any excitement about amusement or entertainment. Wait a second. That park started at $35 million.
Right.
And it's damn near $135 million.
I'm with you. I feel you.
For phase one.
Is it possible? Okay, is it theoretically possible that at some point it will begin to make a profit?
No.
Okay.
Because those demographics will not change. It's not being ultra-utilized by Maxwell, or that was the selling point when it got caught on the nail before. No, it's not. It's going to be a terrific training facility for Olympic trainers. It is not. Not for the money that was spent on it. What's the guy's name that he used to call you, trying to tell you over and over, but that's your buddy.
Lowry.
Promotion.
Yeah.
I know you didn't want to hear what he had to say, but the man had valid points, salient points.
Well, I'm okay with it because we just need something else to bring people to town for.
But you could have spent $100+ million on something else as well, because that's not it. That wasn't it, and that will not be it.
Yeah.
Remember, I did this show a few times, and I did Mark Montiel's show a few times, and he caught on, and you didn't until much later, even though the mayor, Todd Strange, agreed. When they did the multiplex, when they did the amphitheater, and this was in 2011, and again in 2015, for the $10 and $20 million each respective project cost, it would have taken 150 years to recoup at the amount that we have been recouping for the previous 5 or 6 years for the amphitheater, which might have been used 2 or 3 times out of the year, making $6,000, $8,000 a year. With the multiplex at the time, or Crampton Bowl complex at the time, it would have taken 300 years to recoup what we put into it. Todd Strange, then mayor, completely agreed. And you sat there dumbfounded like, well, but we have to have the entertainment excitement. No, keep them fools entertained with sports and entertainment, and we can do what we want. The public knows and knew, but the public keep allowing it to happen. So you can't blame the politicians for spending the fool's money.
Well, listen, I got to go, but it's always good talking to you, and we're going to talk again. Thank you for that information today.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say this number because you're slick, buddy.
I'll see you later.
All right, Kevin.
All right. I got to take a break, and we'll be back. We got a little ways longer to go on this thing, so y'all hang loose. We'll be right back. Well, hey, I'm still for the park. So I understand. I'm tired of everybody coming to Montgomery talking about what happened years ago. It happened. We can't undo it. All we can do is make sure, at least theoretically, make sure that it never happens again. So I don't really, I don't have a problem with the water park. I don't. I think it's probably going to be. And again, now I do agree with one thing. They said, Black people traditionally, we don't get in all that water, scuba diving, and all that stuff. I think it happened something in that what was that passage thing that they brought slaves across? I think we just we inherently that's okay. Y'all go on out there in the water. But I think that it is. It's an interesting thing. The Montgomery Sheriff Office says a 19-year-old Pedro Juan Bennett was taken into custody Tuesday and charged with connection with the shootout over the weekend. Don't tell me that my brothers from another mother is out there doing this stuff too. Come on, man. Well, it's hard, but it's fair, I guess. Everybody loves somebody sometimes. You can't beat the truth. Get the hook. Okay, let me see here now. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, I appreciate it. I still listen. I don't have a problem with the money that's being spent on that thing. I don't. I'm now. I must admit to you that there probably are some. Since we in this thing now, that they're probably. They may not have thought this all the way through. I know Elton Dean. This was his brainchild on this, and I think the idea itself is a good idea. Now, whether or not they did it for a profit or not, I'm not sure. I think that we need to bring people to Montgomery not just to hear the misery of a culture years ago uh, that believed in the subjugation of one group of people over another. Under another. I got you. But I just, if that's the only reason we can bring, if that's the only, my son was sitting in school one day, and to Robert E. Lee or Percy Julian, whichever one you want to call it, and he came home and asked me the strangest question. He says, "Why do they show me in school this black people being hung and things of that nature?" He says, "I really don't want to see that." He said, "Because all it does is it makes me angry." And I understand it makes me angry, but that won't get us to a better relationship with our other people. I, it's almost as if we want this stuff never to end. We want the conversation never to end. That way, somebody always has something to argue about. Success hinges on broad appeal across the ages and skill levels, attracting 300,000 annual visitors, including the locals and tourists, through diverse activities like rafting, kayaking, and community events. I'm with you. I mean, so why not have both of them? And which is what we do. Now, I will admit to you, they may need our people at the city and the county may need to do a better job at marketing this thing, because we don't really want to depend on people in Montgomery for the water park survival. It's right off 65. And it would seem like to me, Highway 65, that we should figure out a way to bring people in. When it is hot as it is right now, I can't think of I mean, it's a place, and we don't have any clean rivers, it looks like, to go into, but that park down there looks like the water's pretty clean down there. It looks like it's pretty good. So I don't know. We haven't done a great job. It's almost as if we came up with the idea with and the building and start the building of the idea without looking at the logistics. Okay. And again, Thomas said that when they before they started, they told them what it was going to take. It would take a population of at least 64% white in this city to make sure that it could survive, and not only just white. They need to be somebody who likes water. I'm not one who I don't like. I mean, I've been on aircraft carriers, pontoon boats and all that stuff. I never like, and every time I was on this thing, I said, I sure hope this thing don't go down, because I'm going down with it. So water's never been my friend except to drink it. But I've never, in the history around here, there was a young man named Willie Edwards, who was thrown into water in that bridge over in Prattville. So water has never been black people's friend in America. Okay, so I can understand, why we probably don't have a fascination with it like some of it. But I like to see those people. I like to see those people who can work it, kayaking. I just think I think it may take a while to catch on. It may take now at some point, the people of Montgomery are going to ask the question, when do we stop the bleeding? I think we should give it 5 years. You give it 5 years, do some marketing, whatever you got to do, and then, maybe pull the plug. I'm not sure. I don't know how much money they expected to make out of this thing anyway. But I'm still I'm saying keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Maybe at some point, we will get to the place where we will get to the point where we like water. I don't know. Anyway, anybody remember lately about the 7 people that were arrested after 10 children were found sexually abused in a bunker in an Alabama home. 7 people have been arrested in connection with the alleged child sex trafficking ring in Alabama. Bibb County Sheriff Jody Wade said during a press conference on July the 23rd that 10 children were abused as part of an alleged, it ain't no alleged, trafficking ring out of a home in Brent, Alabama, about 50 miles southwest of Birmingham. The children are between the ages, listen to this, 3 and 15. But officials expect victims and more arrests could be possible. The USA Today reached out to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office on July 25th. Wade also said officials are investigating whether the ring is connected to a gang who maintain a source of income in child sex trafficking. He said, I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, and this is absolutely the most horrible thing. And I've seen the room. It was a room with a fan in it. It just got a fan in it and a sink, I think, and a toilet, and that's it. Now, somebody wants to, one of our legislators, because we always reacted, wants to make it a death penalty. I don't know about that one to do these things. I don't know about death penalty. If we can say that nobody, when you say the death penalty for everything, you're saying that nobody can be redeemed. I think the only time, if I don't believe in the death penalty, but I think the only time if you're going to use it is because you have taken another's life, something that you can't give back, something that you cannot reconstitute. You take somebody's life, and I think you give your life up for that. But I don't know if everything is a death penalty case. Is it a shame to do anything to kids like that? Right now, I do believe we should have some cruel and unusual punishment for people like that. I ain't got no problem with the cruel and unusual punishment for people like that. But the death penalty, I don't know about that. I mean, we I don't know. What say you folks out there? The numbers here are what is our numbers here? I forgot what the numbers are. 521-2963. Give us a call. Should we have death penalty for child molesters? Now these people in Brent, Alabama, really cruel and unusual punishment is what they need. Really, I mean, I think they need to spend a little time in jail with Big John, and Big John bends them over the rail once or twice, and let them see what it feels like. Okay, I mean, I ain't got no problem with that, but to do it, but the death penalty, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's a little extreme. Well, no, it's not really extreme, but I think when we say that a human being is no longer redeemable, and until we just have to. I mean, but when you take somebody's life, you can't redeem yourself from that. You know, that's something that you've done, and you take a life, give a life. Again, I don't believe in the death penalty because it is misused too often, and too often we find out later on, 30 years later, sometimes that somebody didn't do something. And to me, why is it that it takes 30 years to find out what was already in plain sight when it comes to death penalty cases and things? Why is that? Why is that it takes so right before you put a guy to death, all of a sudden we get to working harder and harder and harder, and then we find, oh yeah, well he maybe didn't do it. A couple months ago, there was three guys in New York who were let go after 35 years in prison. 35 years in prison, and it's a good thing they didn't put them to death because they'd died. We wouldn't know it. So I'm really not for it, but I'm for cruel and unusual punishment. I am for that. Yeah, I am for that. You kill a child, if they ever find out who was responsible for killing that young lady a couple months ago while she slept in her bed, oh yeah, I'm for some cruel and unusual punishment in that. I mean, what happened to our young people? What's going on with them? Okay, And again, I'm not, it's not all their fault. It is their responsibility. They need to be responsible for what they did. But a lot of parenting is not going on in America right now. You can't be a kid. You can't be a kid's friend. Now I can. Now I can. I got one that's 34 and one that's 19 almost. So I can be their friend now. Yeah, but we wasn't talking about being friends when they were young. Uh, and Emmanuel turned out to be a swell kid. Also, he's a photographer and in Colorado. He's one of the best there is, I guess. He got a couple of issues, but we're trying to work through them. Zarel is an Army Reserve, trying to serve his country and get a check at the same time. I appreciate his efforts. Matter of fact, they're all going to make more money than I ever have, which is good. Which is you want them to make more money, okay? Anyway, so much for that. But yeah, I'm just not a death penalty guy. But I do believe when you find people like these people in Brent, Alabama, who have done horrendous things to kids, okay, they need some cruel and unusual punishment, just right up to death penalty, but not the death penalty. But they need to. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we need to get into some psychological trauma, okay? Because that's a shame and a disgrace. What in the Bible says about messing with children. I mean, nah. Yeah, cruel and unusual punishment has its place, I think, and it's into people like these people who do these kinds of things. Okay, I'm just saying it's just. Oh, another thing. Somebody told me yesterday that Saudi Arabia is not in Africa, but it is attached to the continent of Africa. It is attached. Now, it's not a big strip of land, but it is attached to the continent of Africa. Okay, so although they don't call themselves Africans, they probably they kind of like light brown. You know what I'm saying? They light brown. They're not dark brown. So they don't want to be considered themselves African. So I guess when you got all that money, what else? I mean, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself when you're not. But they kind of look African to me a little bit anyway. The numbers here are 521. What's my other number? What's the number here? 521. Yeah, 2963. If there's something on your mind this morning, or whatever it is on your mind. So we got 7 people arrested there. And of course, in Atlanta, not too far away from here, innocent bystanders were shot over there also. Gunfire. I mean, it's like the OK Corral in America right now. Okay, the shooting took place near Edgewood Avenue in the Sweet Auburn neighborhood of the city. Police says. So, I mean, a man was killed and nearly a dozen people suffered injuries in an early morning mass shooting in Atlanta nightclub district. Okay, won't be visiting them. Okay, won't be visiting those guys. So, I wonder, is it time to modify the Second Amendment? That's what that's an interesting question, I guess. Is it time to modify the Second Amendment? I mean, we do have an amendment process. I think. I personally, I think if you under 21 years of age, although idiots 21 years and older do crazy things too, they do. But is it time? And I think we need to have a serious conversation about that. Is it time we do that? We need to do something to try to stop the carnage that's going on in this country. Okay, and I don't know how to do that. And again, I know the argument's going to be, because I'll make the same argument if I was on the other side of this issue. Well, when you take guns from law-abiding people, the only people going to have guns. Only people going to have guns are those who are not law-abiding. So here's my thing: you ought not be be able to tell people how many guns they can have in their house. But I do believe that this policy where we go around like we are the OK Corral, or we're the high chaparral, and no, I mean, listen, a knife can only kill one person at a time. Although this idiot the other day did stab 11 people, but they're alive. Had that been a gun and he shot those 11 people, the chance of them still being alive is remote. So I'm with you. I'm with you. What about? I understand that, but I think if you can have all the guns you want on your property, in your house, but you don't get to carry them on the street. That's just the way. Unless you are involved in law enforcement or military, I can't. No. There's no reason why we should allow people to walk down the streets of America with a rifle. There's no reason whatsoever. There is no reason whatsoever. Give me a reason. Okay, unless you're out in the woods, and in the woods, if you want to go out there hunting, which I'm good with hunting. I mean, if you want to kill Bambi while he's out there licking a piece of salt, that's on you. If you don't want to do him wrong, I mean, Jesse Jackson got this saying, "Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun." I don't even like. I rather hunt people. Okay, I rather hunt people than hunt poor animals who ain't doing nothing but sitting out there minding their own business. Okay. So I don't know, I do not know. It just seems that something is unfair about that. You're sitting there in the tree, perched in one of your little, whatever they call those things you put on the trees. So you're sitting there, and you waiting for some poor animal to come by so you can pop them. I just think that's just not nice. I mean, how can you find fun in that? I don't find fun. Now, if you're doing it because you're hungry and there ain't nothing left to eat, then okay, that's fine. Yeah, but I don't know if I could. I don't even know if I could. I mean, I tried to wring a chicken's neck one time, but he looked at me so sad I couldn't do it. I had to let the chicken go. Okay, so I'm just saying, it's hard. I mean, that chicken was squawking and doing all kinds of things. Plus, I didn't know what I was doing anyway. See, I was just gonna try to wring his neck and eat me some chicken breast. And but the chicken just looked at me so sad. I mean, really, he looked at me so sad. I mean, it was almost like he was saying to me, "Why are you doing this to me? I didn't do nothing to you. I'm just sitting here going around in a chicken yard here. I'm not bothering anybody. And you're gonna run up to me and grab my neck and try to kill me?" And so that's all I heard. So I just let the chicken alone. Okay, I just let the chicken alone. I just couldn't do it. It's kind of like the shark thing I was telling people about. You get bit by a shark and you blame the shark, which makes no sense to me. Okay, sharks live in the water. You don't. So when you go into his house, you wanna hurt him because he's protecting his house. Okay. Listen, knife again. I don't know why you should carry one. I don't know why you should be able to carry a knife in public either. Okay. Again, unless you're in combat, unless you are involved in a military operation. Okay. Because I want you to think about this for a second. Now think about this. On military bases, Army bases, 82nd Airborne, the Rangers, the SF people, the special operations people, they don't carry guns on post. And they know how to use them well, but they don't carry guns on post. We got the military police that carry guns on post in garrison, what we call garrison. We don't walk around with our guns on our side and on a post, because we know human nature would make people do stupid things once they have a gun. Okay, especially those who are under some sort of psychological trauma. So I don't know, I just don't know. Somebody give me one good reason why we should allow people to walk around the street, and we do. Why we allow people to walk around the city of Montgomery with a rifle in their hand? I just need one good reason. Just one good reason. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Must be a Democrat. Hello?
Hey, Kevin, how's it going?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to add, because I was that MP, I was in military police for over 20 years. And even we as MPs, man, we would check out our weapons from the supply. They would, give us our magazines and X amount of bullets. And at the end of the shift, we would go back to supply and turn those weapons in and made sure those bullets were accounted for. And so even as a military policeman on a military post, you still had to be accountable, and you couldn't take that weapon home. So I just wanted to.
Right, which doesn't make much sense. Here we are, the military, United States military, and they don't even trust us, MPs, to carry their home base.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily that. I think it's just being accountable, being as MPs, and that was the old Army. But being MPs, the military accounted for everything, your Humvees, the amount of, how it was, man. Mm-hmm. Even doing your inspections, that's the reason why we had those inspections. It was to make sure that everything was accounted for, because it can mess up a person's career if you came up one short of anything. And that's pretty much what it was all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to account for that stuff, man. Even in the theater, we were able to.
Right.
When I say the theater, I'm talking about, when we were deployed.
Air operation. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now we kept our equipment with us, of course. I mean, you were at war, but still, when you came back to the States, you had to account for that stuff. I'm talking about, Kevin, even our Gore-Texes, man, which, Gore-Tex is where your heavy jacket wear, before retiring, we had to turn some of that stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think they would allow you to keep that stuff, man, but no, you had to turn it in. So I said all that to say this: we were held to account, and I think that our civilians and what's going on, with everybody want to be cowboys at the OK Corral, whatever the case is, at some point or another, leadership needs to call for accountability and sensible gun laws.
Yeah. I think, and I don't know what that looks like, but I know we need to look at something.
Well, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results, you're crazy, and that it's not working. But I'm going to tell you something, Kevin, and I'm a strong believer, until it start affecting certain communities at a greater rate, there's not going to be much to change.
Well, I do think that that we need to do something. But now, again, I think to have a weapon in your house, you don't have to get a license. But if that weapon leaves that house and you take it any place with you, you need a license to transport it. At least somebody will know who you are. But in your house, no, that's your domain. The castle. What's that?
I am with you.
Yeah,
I am with you 100% on that, because I still. We veterans, we get our permits. It's good for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, mine is good for 5 years. And although you can go around without having one, I strongly believe in having one, because if you're going from state to state, and you have a reciprocity, what do you call it? A
reciprocity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, different states will respect Alabama laws. I feel as though it's responsible to have your permit in the event you take your weapon to another state.
Yeah.
And you get pulled over, whatever, you should be able to, show that you have authorizations or a license to carry.
Yeah. Too. Hey, appreciate it, man. My time's up. But again, we need to do something. To carry a weapon in these streets, you need to have a license on you or something. But in your house, you don't need one. You're protecting your castle. The castle, I think it's called the castle doctrine. You have a right to protect yourself in there, and the Constitution gives you that right. But I certainly don't think we need to let people walk around this state, any state, with guns unless they're part of law enforcement or something. And certainly not one with a big magazine in it. Anyway, my time's up. I do thank you for yours. Thanks, Thomas Bass, for coming on, telling us a little bit about money, because we need to know more about it. So have a great day. I'll see you on the rebound. Yeah, I hope to see you in the rebound anyway. Never can tell. And remember, it is not the fall that gives you strength. It's getting up every time you do. See ya. I just wouldn't want to be you.